This past Sunday, the NFL's hottest team in the Lions traveled to Carolina in order to keep pushing for a wildcard spot. All the while, the Panthers knew that they still controlled their own destiny as far as the NFC South goes, and they whooped some ass with their run game and defense en route to an impressive 37-23 win, where the Lions actually made things look better with a couple of late scores. I want to look at the way this rushing attack has really taken off, ripping off 320 yards on Sunday, along with some of the wrinkles that they've added off it. This is the very first play from scrimmage, and I want to call this a crack counter lead with Chuba Hubbard. The gadget player Laviska Shenault is going to work across the formation on his jet motion, and they're going to run the other way, leaving the defensive end here unblocked, and Ian Thomas leading the way up into that hole, where you have a solid crack block by Terrace Marshall on the outside here. You see Thomas here sneaking across and then leading the way, where Hubbard rips off a solid 30-yard chunk. Just 2 plays later, they hit another big run, this time from 11 personnel. Detroit is in an overfront, meaning defensive tackles are in a 3 and a 1 alignment, where they'll trap that 3 technique and then block down away from it. But just check out that technique here by the right guard, who ends up swimming by the defensive tackle here along with the right guard as they get onto those linebackers, and the Hubbard slices underneath that trap block to explode through untouched for another 35 yards before the safety ultimately brings him down. This is still technically 11 personnel here with Shenault in this condensed set, who they basically use as a tight end, as they run another counter-like play with a sift by Shenault, kicking out the end man while the rest of the O-line blocks down away from it. Deontay Foreman aims enough towards that kick-out block to get the Mike linebacker leverage that way, along with the center now peeling back on this other linebacker, and Foreman hits it behind that to rip off another big run, although he does get chopped down by the safety ultimately. Next drive, Carolina is in 12 or 13 personnel, depending on what you want to call it, with a tackle eligible. They motion the de facto Z across into this twin set to the right and run strong duo. As you'll see here in a second, the down safety in the play side will shoot this D-gap because he's the force defender unaccounted for. But as we let this roll, check out this wall here in front of Foreman, moving in massive bodies. Foreman cuts behind it and then puts a move on the safety this time to rip off an even bigger gain of 38 yards before he ultimately gets tracked down. Now when the Panthers get to the 3-yard line at the end of this drive, they line up in a shotgun with an ace duo to the left, meaning those 2 tight ends over here, and they use that aggressiveness by the D-line against them, as quarterback Sam Darnold keeps the ball here on this zone read, along with the 2 tight ends blocking down away from it, with the defensive end being unblocked here, shuffling inside. And now you have nobody accounting for the quarterback. The defensive end here looks like he's turning in mud as he's trying to redirect against Darnold, who scores from 3 yards away. On the following drive, Carolina spreads the defense out a little more, with this sort of loose bunch to the right here out of 11 personnel. And they go back to that zone read, only this time Darnold gives the ball and Foreman rips off another easy 25 yards or so. As you'll see when we get to the end zone view here in a second, Darnold binds the backs of defensive end here with the threat of pulling the ball. Foreman recognizes that space and slips between the right tackle and the defensive end, immediately getting north and ripping off an easy 25 yards or so. And all of this creates some really easy opportunities in the pass game. From the prior drive now, this is them going with an H motion from 12 personnel as Ian Thomas comes across, and they fake the toss to the overloaded side in order to run a naked boot, where on the back side they have a deep curl, and then the 2 other receivers working across the formation as the wide Tommy Tremble is wide open here, catches this ball, and just gets an easy 18 yards, fighting for a little extra yard here at the end of this. Now they're in a 2x2 set from 11 personnel, and call up this easy RPO concept, where they have this weak side inside zone element, and then a slant flat combination at the top here with the tight end. Check out the way those 2 linebackers for Detroit have to trigger downhill against the run, while the Panthers have this natural rub for the tight end for another 12 yards. Easy money as he's taken off down the sideline here with the corner and safety running into each other. And you remember that trip set from earlier? Now late in the game, when they have the tight end as a single receiver at the top here and those 3 wide receivers at the bottom, Detroit has to be in a single high alignment now with the way that the Panthers have run the ball so far. And with the threat of the run, number 34 here can't really take Laviska Shenault in man coverage, as they show another inside zone run to the weak side with the O-line, but this is a flat screen to Shenault all the way to number 3 here. And as we let this run, just check out how that linebacker over here has to over pursue. Shenault recognizes that, makes a miss, and then just keeps fighting, breaking several tackles and taking off down the sideline for a big 43 yards. In general, the Lions did a much better job of defending the run in the second half, but even in the fourth quarter, trying to make a comeback, the Panthers ripped off this 28-yarder with 4 men in this 2x2 ace set where they run inside zone to the right, and you'll see in a second the way that those linebackers have to flow now. Left guard Brady Christensen keeps working down the line and gets a piece of this linebacker from the side. Foreman cuts behind it, and there's just this huge lane opening up yet again, where now it's chase down mode, safety gets a hand on him, and they bring him down. But this finally set up another field goal that put up Carolina by 17 at the 2-minute warning and basically sealed the win for them. This really was a butt whooping against one of the more gritty teams in the NFL. Now the Panthers travel to Tampa Bay with the division crown and home playoff game on the line, if they can also take care of business in week 18. With how inept that Bucs offense has looked like going up against this type of defense, if the Panthers offense can have similar success to when they ran all over Tampa Bay back in week 7 already, I believe they have a really good chance of shocking some people yet again. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet, and feel free to share with a couple of friends. This was a bit of a shorter breakdown this week, but I'll be back next week with a detailed breakdown in written form on my page hellotofootballtalk.com. That can be found down below in the video description along with the links to my social media outlets. So until then, see you later. Peace!